Hi everyone, welcome to another video. This one is a 2022 grade 6 curriculum based social studies exam. Alright, so you have to read all the instructions. I'll go from number 1. It says here, which group of people came to Jamaica as indentured servants in 1854? Now remember, these two dates are pretty close. You have 45 and you have 54. 45 is Indians, 54 is Chinese, so it would be the Chinese, which is C. Number 2, Mr. Hassan and his family moved from Syria, to live in Jamaica. In Jamaica, Mr. Hassan is an immigrant, which is B. Remember, IMI is where you're in, EMI is where you're coming from. So it would be an immigrant from Syria, but an immigrant in Jamaica. Number 3, which of the following events happened first in Jamaica's history? A says universal adult suffrage, B says Morant Bay Rebellion, C says emancipation, and D says Jamaica's independence. Alright, so A, universal adult suffrage, B, the Morant Bay Rebellion, C, emancipation, D, Jamaica's independence. It would be C, emancipation. So if it's just the first bill, which is 1834, if it's the full emancipation, 1838, then it would still be first, because Morant Bay Rebellion is 1865, universal adult suffrage 1944, and independence is 1962. Number 4. Why did the East Indians migrate to the Caribbean during the 19th century? They migrated for A, better educational opportunities, B, opportunities to worship freely, C, opportunities to experience Caribbean culture, D, employment opportunities. Exactly what they came for. D. I might just go through 1 to 20 for this video and do 21 to 40 in another one. Alright, so life for the Chinese indentured servants was not what they expected. That's the statement. Which of the following best supports the statement? Chinese indentured servants, A, got days off and had shorter work days. B says they received excellent medical care. C says they lived on overcrowded plantations. D says they were overworked and overpaid, and that's not true. It's C. So they lived on overcrowded plantation. All right, before apprenticeship, enslaved Africans as well as their children had to work for long hours. But the days when plantation owners could force former enslaved Africans to work 18 hours a day were no more. Under apprenticeship, the former enslaved Africans were supposed to only work 40 hours per week. In addition, children under 6 years old had to be freed. So don't confuse the 40 hours per week with the 18 hours a day to say 40 is more. 40 hours a week, if they were to work 5 days, 5 8 would be 40, so that would be a minimum of 8 hours a day, while before they would have been 18 hours. So ensure you look at the hours per day as against hours per week. Based on the information, which is true, A, during apprenticeship, the former enslaved Africans work shorter hours. B says under apprenticeship, former enslaved Africans had to work throughout the night. C, plantation owners welcomed the apprenticeship system. And D, former enslaved Africans chose the days they wanted to work during apprenticeship. Based on the passage, the answer would be A. During this apprenticeship period, the former enslaved Africans, they work shorter hours. Instead of 18, they went basically 8 hours a day. Alton wants to interview the president of a heritage club in his parish. He wants to get information about the experiences of the Indian immigrants on sugar plantations during the 19th and 20th century. So what he wants is to know about their experiences, all right? So which question should Alton ask in order to get the information he needs? A, where did the East Indian immigrants come from? That would not speak of their experiences. B, when were the East Indian immigrants brought to Jamaica? Not about their experiences. Which plantations did the East Indian immigrants work on? Sorry about that. Not their experiences. What conditions? Conditions would speak to experiences. So it has to be D. All right, moving on nicely. Let's go to number 8. In Jamaica, the Hustle Festival is frequently celebrated among which group? A, Africans, B, East Indians, C, Chinese, D, Europeans. It's the East Indians. That's one of their religious festivals. All right. The Chinese and East Indians have made significant contributions to Jamaica's economy. Number 9. Which source would best provide factual and reliable information to support this statement? Factual and reliable. So it must be true and it must be reliable. It must be the facts and you can trust it. A says a Chinese business owner's diary with entries about how his business in Jamaica has profited over the years. He can lie in that diary. B, a conversation between two customers who each shop at immigrant-owned establishments in Jamaica. Then for this, you more than likely getting their opinion, not really fact and reliable source. C, a World Bank business report stating the growth and resulting effects of immigrant-owned businesses in Jamaica, more like it. D, 2 advertisements promoting the goods and services offered by Chinese and East Indian business establishments in Jamaica. Advertisements can have just about anything on them. Doesn't have to be factual and reliable. So the most would be C, a World Bank report, business report. Number 10, which was not an achievement of Sir Alexander Bustamante. A says he founded the Jamaica Labour Party. We know that is so can't be that it's not. Meaning which one he did not do. So he did found the Jamaica Labour Party. He was the first Prime Minister of Jamaica. C says he won the first election under universal adult suffrage, which is true. And D says he formed the United Negro Improvement Association. The answer is D. He did not form the UNIA. The UNIA was formed by Marcus Garvey. All right. Festivals generally showcase the customs, traditions, and certain aspects of the historical life of a country. Festivals are also used to celebrate important events in a family, community, or nation. Based on information in the passage, which conclusion can be drawn about the importance of festivals? A says festivals are celebrations of customs and traditions only makes it wrong. B says festivals are significant to some ethnic groups, some make it wrong because it's significant to all ethnic groups. C says festivals are festivals are organized to celebrate national events only makes it wrong, because it speaks of family events, community events, not just national. And D says festivals are a way of displaying and promoting culture. D would be correct. Based on the passage, remember each time whether it says based on the passage. All right. Every year on a particular day, Jamaicans celebrate the removal of British control over specific functions of our country. This day is called, is it Labor Day, Emancipation Day, Jamaica Day, or Independence Day? Once you hear it's from British control, you know it's independence. That's when we were no longer a dependent country. We became independent. August 6, 1962. 13. Which leader was involved in the independence movement of Cuba? Norman Manley is A, that's Jamaica. Fidel Castro, he's from Cuba, but he wasn't around when they got independence. He wasn't one of those who fought for the independence. Jose Marti, yes. And D says Jean-Jacques Dessalines. And that man is for Haiti. So the answer is Jose Marti, C for Cuba. 14. Oh, gone past it. Hold on. A dependent country in the Caribbean may not want to seek independence because it chooses to do what? So remember now, the country is dependent. Why would a dependent country not want to be independent? Is it because it wants to be defended and aided by its mother country? Remember, the mother country would be the country that is in charge of the dependent country. Like we once had Britain as our mother country before we got independence. Alright? B says that country wants to develop its natural resources and enjoy its culture. That sounds like independent. C, control all its affairs and develop its own resources. That's independent. Have a type of government that differs from that of most Caribbean countries. That sounds independent. And we're speaking of dependent. So that country would want the mother country to defend them and to give them aid. Alright, so that's A. Number 15. How was the path to independence for Jamaica different from that of Cuba? The country's path were different because A, the leaders in Jamaica started political parties while Cuba's leaders did not. B says the Jamaica gained independence in the 20th century while Cuba gained it before. C says Jamaica's leaders joined with other countries while Cuba's leaders endured on their own. And where are we? D says the leaders in Jamaica negotiated with their colonizers while Cuba's leaders engaged in revolution. And it's D. Remember, we did not fight for our independence. During that time, we have peaceful negotiation. Cuba fought 3 wars. They had a 10-year war, I think a 3-year war, and a little war which lasted for about 1 year. So they fought 3 wars. Alex used 4 questions below to gather information for his research. Read them carefully, then use them to answer item 16. Alright? What role did Toussaint Louverture play in Haiti's path to independence? How did Jamaica achieve its independence? What were the benefits of independence for Haiti and Jamaica? How did the path to independence taken by Haiti and Jamaica affect them? 16. Which of the following is most likely the focus of Alex's research? A says, what are the benefits of being an independent nation? B, in what ways did the path to independence taken by Jamaica and Haiti impact how they function today? C, who were the main persons involved in Jamaica and Haiti achieving independence? D, how are independent and dependent countries similar? And it's got to be B. Alright, moving on to number 17. Which best describes one way in which both Jamaica and Haiti celebrate their Independence Day? Alright, they both celebrate by A, having traditional dances as the main feature, not really the main feature. B, drinking soup jamu, pumpkin soup. If Haiti does, I don't think we do here in Jamaica. C, hosting a festival song competition. D, organizing nationwide celebrations. That's D. We both organize nationwide celebrations. Next item, 18. A citizen of a dependent country is most likely to do what? A, vote for leaders who manage all the country's affairs. So if you're dependent, you have to keep the keywords in mind. B, follow decisions and policies made by the mother country. C, obey the laws made by their parliament only. D, use a visa to travel their mother country. Visas are not required to travel to your mother country. It's B. If you're dependent, you're going to follow the policies of your mother country. 19. A grade 6 student has to write an essay on Jamaica's reasons for seeking independence. Which source would be least helpful for writing the essay? A, Entries about the events leading up to Independence Day from the personal diary of Norman Manley. B, a civics book. C, newspaper articles on Jamaica's withdrawal from the West Indies Federation. D, a poster advertising independence celebration. That one is like a giveaway. Can't use a poster to determine that one. So that's D. Number 20, we have to read this little passage here, and it's to be used for 20 and 21. The Caribbean Festival of Arts, also known as CariFesta, and CARI, this stands for Caribbean Fest, stands for Festival and the Arts. CariFesta is a multicultural event organized by countries of the Caribbean. The festival, held every 4 years, allows artists, musicians, and authors from the Caribbean and Latin America to showcase their work. CariFesta has become an equally important event for persons exhibiting their work as well as for lovers of Caribbean culture. The festival is a demonstration of Caribbean unity and diversity. CariFesta, since its first staging in San Juan, Puerto Rico in 1952, has been an avenue for celebrating excellence in Caribbean cultural practices. Number 20. Based on the information in the source, which best illustrates what CariFesta helps to maintain? A says it's building designs, B, religion, C, language, D, heritage. It's heritage. It helps with heritage. All right. Moving on to number 23. I'm gone past my timing that I'm to do with this. Where am I? Sorry, 21. Oh, it's 21. CariFesta is an effective way of preserving Caribbean culture. Do you agree with this statement? A says yes, because it exposes the region to the unique expression, creativity, and life of the people in each country. B says yes, it is, because it showcases the gifts and talents of people from countries who were once ruled by Britain only. C says no, because it showcases the culture of countries outside of the Caribbean. And D says no, because it is often held in the same country and many Caribbean territories do not participate. The answer is A. It is a way of preserving the culture because it exposes people in the region, Alright guys, so I'll stop at 21. I'll pick up from 21 when I'm back, and then we move on from there to the end of... Alright, let's see if we go through to the end of this paper. 22 and 23 must use these sources. Source 1. Each symbol in Jamaica's coat of arms has a meaning. The Tainos were the first people who lived in Jamaica. The crocodile is indigenous to the island. Pineapples represent the island's native fruits, and the helmet and mantling are symbols of Jamaica's past status as a British colony. Source 2 has the revision of the coat of arms. Take note of the motto. Remember, first it was in Latin, which means the two Indians shall serve as one. Alright. Source 3 is a letter. 7 Park Road, Lime Grove, P.O., St. Clair, September 16, 22. Dear Carlos, how are you? I was sitting at home bored yesterday after the Wi-Fi went down. So I decided to read my social studies textbook. I learned so much. Let me share some of it with you. Did you know that Jamaica's coat of arms changed many times? Yes, it did. So here goes the year and the description of change. In 1875, a crocodile and pineapples were added. In 1906, the Tainos and the motto, written in Latin, were added to what already existed. The meaning of the motto in English was, the two Indians will serve as one. In 1957, the helmet and mantling were added to what already existed. In Jamaica, there are people from many ethnic backgrounds and cultures. This led to another change in the coat of arms in 1962. Anyway, I have to go now. I hear my mom calling me. Your friend, Carl. Alright, so based on the sources, which is the most recent change made to the Jamaican coat of arms? And you would have to go back each time you do what you're doing, guys. Go back to the sources. Even if you don't see me going back to save time here, you should go back. The last thing that was done was what? The change of the motto. So the answer would be C. The answer would be C, changing of the motto. All right, let's move on. 23. Which source provides an explanation for why part of Jamaica's coat of arms were changed over the years? So that's 23. You have to look at the sources again, but I know it's source 3 when Carl, what's his name? Carl wrote to Carlos and told him. So it's source 3. A line from the Jamaican national anthem is shown below. Use it to answer item 24. Here's the line. Teach us true respect for all. Which idea is being promoted in this line? It is promoting A, personal ambitions, B, regard for others, C, disunity and injustice, D, cultural awareness. And the answer is B, regard for others. It's showing regard for others. All right. Moving on to 25. A line or the line, the wisdom and courage of our mind, is taken from Jamaica's A, national pledge, B, national anthem, C, national song for schools, D, national prayer. So which is it? Is it a line from the anthem, pledge, song, or school? It's from the pledge. It's A. I'm getting tired. 26. Why is it important for Jamaica to have its own national symbols and emblems? A says these symbols and emblems will ensure that Jamaica's products are easily identified. B says the symbols and emblems are a representation of Jamaica's history, values, and uniqueness. B says the symbols and emblems will ensure that citizens become more loyal to Jamaica and its nation builders. And D says the symbols and emblems will remind Jamaican citizens of their roles and responsibility. The answer would be B. They are a unique representation of Jamaica's history, values, and uniqueness. 27. Which strategy presents the most suitable way of helping young people in a community to become more aware of the Jamaican culture? All right. A says placing posters of famous actors and actresses throughout the community. B, hosting community meetings to discuss the changes in the Caribbean culture. C says we need to have staging of community concert with international singers. D, staging an annual cultural talent competition in the community. The answer would be D, staging an annual competition in the community that has to do with culture. All right, the passage shows a speaker's response to a question posted in a meeting. Read it carefully, then use it to answer 28. We want to encourage everybody to get involved in our Jamaican culture. Let us begin by creating cultural clubs in school. We want culture club members to participate in various cultural activities such as Festival of the Performing Arts, Mellow-Go-Round, Miss Lou Day, and Jamaica Day, so that they can get a greater understanding and appreciation of Jamaican culture. Which question was the speaker most likely responding to? It says, how is the Jamaican culture unique? How can we get children to become members of a culture club? How can children become exposed to the Jamaican culture? How will children benefit from Jamaica Day activities in school? Has to be C. How will they become more exposed to it? Would have to be C for that one. All right. 29. Which mountain range can be found in the continent of North America? Of course, that's Rocky Mountains. What happened to my highlight? But it's C, Rocky Mountains. All right. So we have two mountains here. Blue Gap, Big Tree Village. Location, which is on the side of the mountain. Blue Gap is on the windward, so it's over in the east end. Big Tree is on the leeward over to the west. Height above sea level, Big Tree, Blue Gap is here. Big Tree. Average annual temperature, you can see them here. Average annual rainfall, you can see them and see their differences. Based on the information in the table, which statement gives the best explanation for the amount of rainfall each community receives? A says Blue Gap receives more rainfall because of its location on the mountain and higher altitude. Remember, the higher you go, the more rainfall, cooler you become and all these things. So that's what it says for Blue Gap, getting more rainfall. B says Big Tree receives less rainfall only because of its temperature and altitude. C, Big Tree Village receives less rainfall because of its altitude only. D, Blue Gap and Big Tree Village receive different amounts of rainfall because they are located apart. No, the answer would be A. A. Blue Gap receives more because of its altitude and where it is on the mountain. Here we have a pie chart showing human activities carried out in Cindy Gap. So this dark area here has to do with farming. This kind of not so dark with streaks, hiking. And this 50% is nature walks and or bird watching. So which statement is most likely true about the community of Cindy Gap? Cindy Gap is located on a lowland which has very little environmental value. B says highland, which is degraded. I'm speaking science, which is degraded. C says lowland of great economic and social value. And D says highland of great environmental and recreational value. Recreational, hiking, nature walk, bird watching. So environmental and recreational value will make it D. Highlands, hiking up in the mountains. All right. Which is most likely a direct effect of mining on the environment? A says destruction of wildlife habitat. B says more heavy and intense rainfall. C says increase in tourism activities. D says climate change. The most direct would be destruction of wildlife habitat. A group of grade 6 students went to the Grey Mountain National Park on a field trip. The list below shows a student's response to a question given on the field trip worksheet. Use it to answer item 33. A student's response to field trip worksheet question. Tourist fishing, scout camping, men planting trees on a forest farm. Which question is the student most likely answering? A says, which activities do children enjoy in the mountain? Never mention anything about children doing anything in the answer. B, how important are mountain environments to citizens? Never gave any such thing as importance, all right? C, what are some services that tourists enjoy in mountain environments? Mention tourists, but other people are mentioned, all right? D, what activities are carried out in the mountain environment? So the most appropriate would be D, what activities? So you'd have scouting, you'd have planting, and you'd have tourists doing what they're doing. So it would be D, what activities are carried out? 34. Why are forest reserves important? A says they provide employment for lumberjacks. B says they restrict the number of persons who visit the forest. C says they create more opportunities for hunting and bird shooting, and you know that can happen and shouldn't happen in forest reserves. And D says they protect plants and animals. The answer is D. Forest reserves will protect plants and animals. Alright, so the answer is D. My highlight not coming on. Here it goes. Alright, 35. For this one, you're doing selecting. When you get your paper, you know you go through the different instructions. For each statement in the table, shade the appropriate letter in each row to indicate whether the statement describes either activities that are carried out in mountain environments or goods that are produced in mountain environments. So here we have lumber for furniture. That is definitely a goods. That would be goods. Guided tours of the forest would be a service or an activity carried out. Alright, 36 is for these sources. So source 1, you have the Diwali Festival of Lights, a sacred celebration of Hindus. Children dressed in brightly colored costumes and act out parts of stories. During the celebration, various foods and sweets are eaten. On the final day of celebration, lamps are lit and placed around houses and on the streets. Source 2. We have lost the true meaning of Christmas. It is about celebrating the birth of Jesus. Now, the season is more about fun, gifts, money, and entertainment. So here we have two religious festivals. So some festivals are celebrations of important aspects of religion. Is it source source 1, source 2, or source 3? Not source 3. Source 1, source, you know that I'm getting tired. Source 1, source 2, or both sources. And it would be which one? For 36. Both of them. So that's C. Alright, the purpose of some festivals is not always emphasized during the celebration. And the answer for that one would be B, as it states in source 2. Alright, so here we have a mountain to, a rainfall map to use for 37. So you always remember to use your key and to look at whatever they show you, as in what the map is showing. All right, so above what's the measurement. Ensure you look at everything on any diagram you're given. Source 2. As a coffee farmer, I know what coffee needs to grow. Rainfall in amounts ranging from 1,524 to 2,286 millimeters yearly. Low temperatures and well-drained fertile soil. The mountains in Portland provide all these conditions that coffee needs. Next section, cocoa is my crop. It grows best in the hills, sheltered from the windy conditions that destroy the blossom. Based on the sources given, shade the appropriate letter in each row to indicate whether each conclusion made is true or false. Coastal communities that are close to a highland have better natural water supply, and where are we? Coastal communities, that's not supported. I don't think it supports that. Never said anything about that in either of the sources. So we could safely say that this one is false, though debatable. Alright, I'm getting tired and running. Coffee can be grown in parts of St. Mary, Now you have to go back to your sources always. Where St. Mary is somewhere over here. Look at the shading and to see. Remember it says coffee can be grown from heights of 1,005 something. So you look if you're seeing any of this kind of thing in St. Mary to know if it can. And yes, it can be grown in some parts of St. Mary. So that one would be true. Alright. So that would be A. Areas such as George's Plain and Pedro Plain are ideal for the cultivation of cocoa. No, plains are flat, dry, hot areas, more so for cane and those, so it would be B, falls. Coffee will grow, cocoa it says will grow in the mountain area, away from the, come here, shelter from the windy condition, best in the hills. So for 38, we have to use this table. The sources are to be used to answer item 38. And there are 4 solutions given. Solution A, solution B, C, and D. Solution A is say you should create protected areas and apply strict regulations for use. Solution B says practice contour plowing, mulching, and terracing. Solution C says construct retaining walls. Solution D says minimize the use of chemical fertilizers. 38. The table below shows 3 effects human activities have on mountains. For each effect given, shade the appropriate letter in each row to indicate which solution best reduce the effect. Human activities on the mountain and their effects, right? Building roads resulting in landslide. Which solution would be best for that one? Is it A, creating protected areas, that's speaking of forest reserves? B, contour plowing and mulching and terracing? Or do we need C, which says constructing retaining walls? The answer would be C. Next says loss of habitat and wildlife due to human interactions. What do we do for that one? Loss of habitat and wildlife. Sounds like in the forest, so we need forest reserves, which would be A. Solution A, so that would be A. Next one, farming on mountain causing soil erosion. So do we need, that would be B. So for the farming and erosion, you'd need contour plowing, mulching, and terracing to help control that. 39. A student was given the research question below. Use it to answer 39. How can festival be used to preserve Caribbean culture? A list of available sources is provided in the table below. For each source, shade the appropriate letter in the row to indicate whether it will provide helpful information or unhelpful information to complete the assignment. So again, how can festivals be used, to preserve Caribbean culture? Where am I gone? Right here, 39. First one says newspaper articles about the importance of festival. Will that be helpful or unhelpful? It would be helpful. So it would be A. Next, a tourist online blog about his or her actual preferences. About what? Unhelpful. That's B. A book published by Jamaica Heritage Trust entitled, How Can I Promote and Preserve Caribbean Culture? That's A. So it would be A, B, A. Alright, so this is for 40, the last item. And source 1 is taken from Anne's YouTube channel. Source 2 is an article from the Jamaica Information Service, which is JIS. Source 1. The first group of East Indians came to Jamaica to showcase their fashionable clothing such as saris and unique gold and silver jewelry. These are even more popular today than they were in the past and are sold in local stores. Source 2, which is the article from JIS, the Jamaica Information Service. Most Chinese immigrants came to the Caribbean to work on plantations. However, they disliked it and soon left the plantations to set up small grocery shops all across the island. Many of these businesses grew into large enterprises, embracing not only retail, but also wholesale selling and other types of activities. Source 3 is an advertisement in a local newspaper, and it says, Dragon, oh, my water turned over. Dragon Spot Chinese Restaurant, the only spot for authentic Chinese cuisine. Come and enjoy our really delicious sweet and sour chicken, kung pao chicken, chow mein, curry chicken, spring rolls. We are the best. Shop 16 Rose Mall. So we have 3 sources here. So it says for each statement in the table below, shade the appropriate letter in each row to indicate whether it is supported by source 1, source 2, source 3, or all of the sources. So immigrant groups have contributed to growth of Jamaica's business sector, and that is all of them. So it would be D, all 3 sources. Immigrant groups brought their unique fashion to the Caribbean. Only source 1 mentioned fashion, so that would be A. And the final statement here says the sources, where am I? Sorry, gone too far. The source or sources contain or contains information that is most likely factual and reliable. That would have to be the JIS 1, which is source 2, which is B. Alright guys, so this is the end of the 2022 Social Studies Curriculum-Based Test paper. I have gone through 1 to 40, and I hope you would have understood what was done. Play the video slower so that you can get a better gist of what was done. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.